Oh, you know, I think it froze. You know, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, let's try it again. Why, hello and welcome, everybody. It is Pohx again. So today, what I wanted to go ahead and talk about is kind of like give you guys like my overall review of Diablo 2 after playing it. I know this is kind of like a 20-year out-of-date review, but hey, that's what I'm here for, right? So anyway, I also wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of what I've been doing with my character and kind of like my gear progression and whatnot. So this is on the Path of Diablo servers. It's not the actual vanilla client. If you want to go ahead and see that, I'll go ahead and post like a link to the Reddit in the description and or in the comment section so you can check it out there. So I'm playing a like an ice. It's like a frozen orb and a Hydra spec. It does pretty good damage. The reason why I decided to go between two elements is because fucking everything in the game is cold immune, so I was like, oh, let me go fire as well, only to realize that everything in the fucking game is fire immune, so like, pretty much 90% of the time I'm fighting something, it's either gonna be immune to cold, or it's gonna be immune to fire, so, yeah. Anyway, so like, my beginning time playing in the game was a lot of fun. You know, I really enjoyed my first playthrough into normal, like going all the way up to Bale, I don't remember what his name is, after Diablo. That was a ton of fun. I felt like as you get into Nightmare difficulty, your build kind of starts getting created. Some builds are already out there, but it's pretty neat. I also like the idea of how the respec works and how it respects your stats as well. Definitely fun. Same thing with the charms. A very interesting system. One of my complaints with the game, and I'm not gonna try to use like the older complaints. Like obviously the client is not up to date. You know, the resolution is not on the right setting, etc. I'm not gonna use that as, you know, that doesn't make any sense to compare. What I'm gonna compare is like the immunities. So when you're fighting in Hell, excuse me, and even some parts into Nightmare, you start fighting monsters with immunities that are literally immune to certain elements. So like whether it would be like immune to fire, immune to cold, immune to magic, immune to physical, immune to... There's so many different types of immunities. Now, if you're playing in party play, a lot of this is kind of waived because certain people in your party can complement the things that you don't have, right? So if I'm playing fire, you're playing with a barb who's physical, and you're playing with a necromancer, which, I don't know, like say he's poison-based, you can kind of like, you don't really have to worry about that stuff, you know? Like, that's totally fine. If you are playing solo, you definitely have to take into consideration of being able to deal with immunities. There's also certain classes, like Paladins, which can use, I think it's called Conviction Aura, and actually is a prime example of a monster that is immune to cold. But you can use things like Conviction Aura and stuff, and you can actually lower the monster resistances. And later on in the game, I believe you can even craft, I think it's a rune word on one of your dudes to get Conviction Aura, but I never really got that far. And I realize I haven't really hit full endgame in this mod because it's based around like the mapping system and stuff, but I never really could get over the immunity fact because the immunity to me kind of makes the game like super unfun. You know, like my character is built around slowing monsters. That's kind of why I decided to pick the element of cold as my main element. But if a pack of monsters is immune to cold, I can't slow them because they're immune to it. So I have to rely on my mercenary, which you can see here, who has a slowing aura, which does work. But now I'm gearing up two completely different people, so it's like I'm playing an MMO, or it's like I'm playing an RPG, but I'm always playing with a minion, which is kind of odd. Like, I have to worry about, I have to give him potions, I have to use my instant flask on him, I gotta keep him alive, I gotta craft his gear, I gotta look out for, like, the special gear for him specifically, like, trying to find a weapon like this, but making it ethereal to craft the rune word, and vice versa. I gotta give him like melee splash, which is specific to this one. So it's kind of like a lot of elements that I didn't really expect to see kind of popping in, and that's okay. It's just I'm just not really interested in it. It's kind of annoying to have, like I said, to have to like gear up your mercenary to make sure he benefits you. Otherwise, he's just totally useless. And it doesn't really make sense to play without a mercenary because they're so strong. Like they're so strong. If I fight a mob that's fire and cold immune, my mercenary literally has to kill it because I can't do anything. I mean, I can sit here and use static shit, but it doesn't really do anything, right? Anyway, so overall, I really did enjoy my time playing. Towards, you know, the last day, I kind of started getting bored, and that's kind of why I'm actually making this video here now, just to kind of show you guys a little bit of it. But I was definitely excited to play it. If I go ahead and revisit it again at some point, I'll probably check out one of the highly recommended mods, or I don't know what they're called specifically, but it's called Median XL. So if I were to come back, that's most likely what I would check out. Will I be playing D2 ladder resets at any point in time in the future? Probably not. Will I play the Path of Diablo ladder resets? Probably not, but maybe, just because it's just not my game, you know? I like RuneScape, that's me. You know, if RuneScape had ladder resets, which they kind of do, I'd kind of play that if it was my main thing, but it's not. So that's kind of like where I grew up. I never really played Diablo as a kid. You know, the farthest I ever made it was to, like, Andariel, and she shot poison, and I shit my pants as a kid. And I never really played the game again because I was scared. But, like, you know, overall, I'm definitely happy to have the experience. I think one thing you guys do have to take into account, which is not going to make any sense to you guys, but I do have to explain it as I'm always honest to you guys, is a little term called backseat gaming. And backseat gaming is the killer of fun in a lot of games that I play, simply because when you're playing a really old game, people tend to forget. Let me clarify. Everyone tends to forget that you did not play that game with them as a kid 24/7. So, people telling you where to go, what to do, what gear to use, why aren't you doing this, how come you're in this area, you know, I could post it on my screen, have it diagonal, it doesn't matter, people are going to spoil it because people don't fucking read. And this is definitely something that sucks. It doesn't really happen in newer games. It happens in older games, so in the future, I may just contain it to a YouTube series, which I know I didn't really do much with in this one specifically, or I might just contain it specifically more towards, like, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that is one thing to take into account as well, which is why I don't typically go back to a lot of older games, because that's why I haven't, like, played Dark Souls, because the same exact thing would happen, and it's just not fun for me. You know, I'm the kind of guy, I like fucking up. I like ruining my builds. I like dying in hardcore as well. Like, that, I don't, if it's actually my fault, I don't mind. You know why? Because you can learn from that experience, and you shouldn't die again from it, unless it's something inevitable, you know? Anyway, though, that's pretty much about it. I hope you guys did enjoy yourself. I hope for you guys that were on the Diablo streams, you did like it. For anyone wondering what the fuck I've been doing in-game, I literally have just been running in circles. I figure it's better commentary than just putting on a webcam and going in full screen, Kappa Pride, Kippa HD. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So let me go ahead and go over my gear that I was talking about really fast. Almost to town. Let's do it. You know, I can't do it. Alright. So, we ended up finding, I don't know what it's called, they called it like a skiller. It was basically a large charm that said +1 to druid skills. My buddy Cha, also another streamer, ended up wanting it, so he traded me an Oculus Rift, which is cool because you can see like VR porn, along with a peasant crown, which I think fits me as a peasant, you know? So that was a pretty good trade. According to him and a lot of people in chat, I got ripped off, but like, I mean, I'm a noob, you know? I'm the kind of guy who's like, I don't care, just, it's my money and I want it now. Called JG Wentworth. Anyway, so I'm being fucking retarded today. Alright, let's go on. I've got a smoke chest piece, which is basically the rune wards that you put in, and this is kind of just to kind of easily make up the resistance for hell difficulty. I am pretty much capped inside hell, so that is one thing, so that's pretty easy to go with. We've got a Tal Rasha's, I don't know how to fucking pronounce that word, Auduication? Sure, Auduication amulet, which I honestly like didn't even do anything with, which my buddy, like, we traded for essentially, which was a pretty sick find. I actually got it this morning. I've only played with it for an hour, so yeah, unfortunately. An ancient pledge as my shield, just for the resistances. We ended up getting Bitterhold gauntlets, which I don't honestly, it's just a name that I kind of just overemphasized there. It gives some resistances. We got some Bramble Spur chain boots, same thing like the gloves. The belt is a ghoul strap heavy belt. Unfortunately, it does not give strength as a base, though. Feels bad, man, PoE. It gives some fire and poison resist. And then we just got some basic rings that I never really figured out what to do with. Stat allocation and whatnot. Stat allocation was pretty much almost all vitality, some strength for requirements, some energy because fucking mana sucks ass. And that's pretty much the character, and like I said, I did enjoy myself. In terms of how I leveled up, I started off with with Fireball, so I put, you know, Firebolt for whatever you could, Fireball all the way, up until I was able to get Frozen Orb, respec into Frozen Orb, put points into Frozen Orb and Cold Mastery. Once those two were maxed out, I went into Fire Spells, maxed out Hydra. After Hydra, I went into Fire Mastery, and I don't know what I'd be doing after that, but that was pretty much my character. I never tried out Meteor. Meteor was definitely something I wanted to try out as well. I think that these Hydra's damage is absolutely insane, especially because it has no cooldown. So that is definitely something really cool to kind of like have on the side. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to follow. I mean, subscribe because it's YouTube. But remember, you can always catch me streaming live every day at twitch.tv/Pohx. So if you're curious, feel free to check that out. And we've got another game coming over on the next couple of days before Path of Exile on December 2nd. I still don't know specifically what it is. I was going to do like a straw poll vote, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to do it at like right away. But it's either going to most likely be like Grim Dawn. It might be Torchlight 2. We'll see, but it's only going to be a couple days. Anyway, though, like I said, hope you guys had a wonderful time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you boys all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.